there's like dead spiders, cockroach, walls are the wrong color. They're like, yeah, congrats and good luck. Like, you guys gotta open up in 17 days. And we're like, holy shit.
Artist, entrepreneur, coffee connoisseur, and just a bright ray of light and good energy overall. Madeline Liu, how are you?
I'm good.
So just tell us a little bit about who you are and what projects you're currently working on.
My name is Madeline. I like to think of myself as a curious creative. My mission is to really storytell meaningful life experiences, and I do this through visual arts, through my business, Notebeans Stationery. I do this through my photography. I do this for brands and social media management. Some projects I'm working on at the moment. I'm running my business, Notebeans Stationery, and I'm trying to really focus on like live illustration at the moment a lot. Can get into that later, but it's been a hugely fulfilling kind of endeavor. And then really focusing on licensing in different like product partnerships with different brands. And I have a storefront right now in Mountain View called Don't Eat Me. So that's been taking up a huge chunk of my time. I work full time at a company called Redbubble as a social media manager, and I do VR facilitation and art support at Stanford Health. So those are some things on the side, and just general freelancing. I freelance at a restaurant right now as well in SF. Yeah.
Just a couple things. Just a couple things going on.
Just a few. Yeah.
So what you've been able to accomplish you're 23 years old, correct?
That is correct.
And you are 23 years old.
24 this year, but yes, 23 as of right now.
So the things you've been able to accomplish in the almost 24 years that you've been on this earth it's nothing short of impressive. So I just want to say, amazing job.
Aww.
You're doing great.
Thank you so much. It doesn't feel like it, but thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
When I was your age, I was an absolute mess.
Oh my gosh.
I had no idea what was going on. I had no direction. I was really figuring life out at that point. I call it my flail era because it felt like I was just flailing out of control and trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. But you're doing all this right now. You are on the opposite end of the spectrum of where I was at. Could you take us back and bring us back to how you got to this point, starting from when you were young, and just go from there?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. So I guess on a beautiful day on August 18th in 2002, a baby was born, and that was me. Is it first gen? I forget the one where I'm born here, but my parents came here.
Same. Yeah, okay, first generation born American.
It's first gen Asian American. Yeah.
Technical term.
So yeah, I grew up in a very like entrepreneurial household. My mom is like a serial restaurant entrepreneur. I've seen her open like countless businesses growing up. So I feel like for me, that drive came very naturally. Both my brother and I became very entrepreneurial. I saw my mom do a lot of businesses growing up. A lot of them failed. Some succeeded. And I think it really just taught me the lesson of like, the fear of failing is always less than the fear of never having tried. And every experience you have will always give you this lesson. I did do a lot of creative, crafty stuff growing up, a lot of like clay and painting and illustrations, and a lot of just like traditional mediums. I did a lot of fan art of like games I love, like Puzzles and Dragon, if you know that. I would say that's kind of how I grew up. It was business comes very natural to me, just seeing my mom operate the way she does and like taking the risks she takes. And then when I was in high school, my dad pushed my brother and I to like start selling random stuff on eBay. So I started learning about like e-commerce, like listing stuff, taking photos. Like it was a very like random skill that I was like, this is so pointless. Why am I selling like a used board game on eBay?
Was this something that your dad did on the side as well?
So my dad did this on the side.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was the best business model, but I think that skill set still like carried through in terms of like teaching my brother and I like the world of e-commerce before it was like huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I personally got into like Mercari, which kind of gave me a bit more of like a marketplace e-commerce perspective on a higher end level. Like it's still secondhand, but it's like nicer than eBay, I feel like a little bit.
What products were you selling exactly
on Mercari?
On Mercari, on eBay? Was this...
I think on eBay it was a lot of like stuff I already had. And then Mercari, I started with selling stuff I already had, and then I started buying in bulk stuff from Amazon and then selling it on Mercari for like...
For a profit.
Yeah, for a profit. So it was like my first experience of like, not drop shipping, but just, having some sort of supply, creating a markup, and then pushing it and positioning it in a way where you can validate that value in a way. So.
And you were 16.
That was,
when this happened?
when I was like 16, yeah.
How did you feel when you got that first dollar that you made from eBay or Mercari? What was that? What did that feel like? Take us back.
I mean, I feel like I was too young to have that awe of like what it meant, but I do remember just like looking back at the data at some point and being like, oh, I've made like $300 from like selling stuff I already had in my room. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, there was no significant like financial feeling in a way.
Yeah. It was just like, oh, this is cool. This is possible.
Cool. Yeah. It's just like, this is possible. But I think once again, since I saw it a lot growing up, like my mom's always thinking about like, you know, keeping the value in her handbags, or like how do you flip something, you know, to like turn it into something that's like more valuable. So I think it wasn't that novel for me in a way.
I see.
Yeah.
So you've just been around this environment.
Yeah, it was like
time, this whole
I became
business,
the product of that in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this all makes sense right now that you're so entrepreneurially driven.
Yeah.
And you just have that intrinsic drive within you, just because you were brought up in that environment.
For sure.
Wow. Are you still doing that today? Are you still selling stuff on eBay? Or I mean, it's probably shifted over to all your art
it's shifted
stuff.
a lot. So I like kind of had my first experiences selling, and then at some point in high school, me and two other friends, we wanted to start a clothing brand. My mom would go to Asia a lot because she was opening like a Chinese skewer restaurant in Indonesia at the time, in Jakarta. So she was like, hey, if you have this business idea, let me take it to a manufacturer and you don't have to pay the shipping costs. I'll just bring it back with me when I come back.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So I was kind of experiencing also like, it was a little bit one of those like geological arbitrage like moments where like, you know, custom ink here is like $17 a shirt, and then embroidery with like beautiful detailing from Jakarta is going to be like $3 a shirt. So it was my first experience like of that like capability of like markup in a way. But so we started that business, we like cold called different aquariums, and then we eventually cold called like Monterey Bay Aquarium, and I don't know why they would say no, but then they ended up saying yes. So it was great. And then we just sold it to like friends and family. Fast forward a little bit then to COVID. I'm young, so I didn't have Zoom University as basically leaving high school. COVID hit essentially. And everything in the world was feeling like super, super overwhelming. You know, just so many political events and just like, you know, hate on different groups at that time. And I remember thinking like I had just gotten with my, I think it was like EDD money or something. I bought an iPad Pro, and I was just like drawing and trying to like learn digital art a little bit more. And I remember thinking like, I wish I could do something with my art that could like help this situation. So I made this like peach boba sticker inspired by this character called A Peach, which is from Kakao Talk, which is like this Korean texting app. And it's pretty copyright infringement, to be honest, but I made this sticker and I posted it on my story saying like, I'm donating 100% of my proceeds of this sticker to an organization called Global Giving, which like donates to like thousands of different projects, and I still donate to them to this day with my profits. I don't market it as much because I didn't like the feeling of like using crisis to like build profit in a way. But yeah, so that was pretty much like the origin of like how Notebeans kind of began. As I was waiting for the next sticker to arrive, I was like, I should fill my feed with something. So I joined an art challenge called Peachtober. Art challenges are very popular. It's like you draw one thing every day for 30 days and it gets the reps in. There's
something similar for music called Jamuary, Jamuary.
Okay.
So that's actually how I got started. This is how I got started on TikTok.
No, let's ping pong. Yeah.
So this is how I got started on TikTok. The very first things that I posted was January 2021. So every single day, the 1st through the 31st, I made something. It was like a 30-second beat, 10 seconds, something like that. Something very low lift, but just the consistency, just the routine of having to do it kind of just forced that creativity.
For sure, yeah. I mean, there's that cheesy parable of like two classes that does the pot, like, pottery class.
Got it.
One class is making 30 pots in 30 days, and the other class is making like one pot in 30 days. And then like the results of like the 30th pot versus the one pot that people took like, 30 days to perfect and like over fixate on those details. Like the class that did more reps essentially had better quality ceramic pots that they made in the end.
Just
so,
that consistency.
Yeah, it's
time.
just like avoiding that overthinking, not like, ruminating over like small details and just like, it's just MVP, right? Get what you can going out there and like, you just think about I need to put something out today.
MVP, minimum viable product.
Sorry. Yeah.
Got it.
Insert jargon.
But that's funny that you mentioned that. Just another aside with music. So I've been doing this 1 hour challenges lately. So I'll set a timer, 1 hour. I have to have something done by the end of it. It doesn't matter how long it is, how short it is. It's just time blocking, basically. And the things that I've been able to create as a result of that 1 hour block, it's just so surprising at the end, because
for sure.
You're not thinking, right? You're just in motion, and it's just kind of muscle memory, but it's also just pure like feeling, and
for sure.
It's very cathartic.
I think. No, I know, I feel like being in flow as a creative is like it's such a protected time and space and energy. I think that's a really valuable like exercise for sure. I was selling on Etsy, and I remember like there was just these sales coming in from random people, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. Like, I'm able to sell on the internet on this marketplace with my original design. So this was like level 3 of my like e-commerce selling in a way, compared to like eBay and Mercari.
It's graduation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, perfectly, right? I went to university at University of San Francisco, USF, and my Business 100 professor, so my very first professor, Professor Nicole Nguyen, incredibly like just talented and uplifting mentor. I came to her after class one day online. I just stayed a little bit after, and I was like, hey, like, you used to be a consultant at Johnson & Johnson. You had like 15 years of experience in all these different startups. And like, she was learning Scrum at that time I don't know all the jargon for tech and product management, but she was doing a lot of consulting for startups. And I was like, oh, why not just get like a free coach, right? Just ask my professor. So I said like, hey, I have this business. I don't really know what I'm doing. Do you have any advice? Like, can you audit my business, or like, can you give me an advice? And this was like very like naive me asking, and she was like, I don't know, like, buy envelopes in bulk. Like, I don't know anything about your business, like, I don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it. But she was like, hey, like, like, this is the first week of class, and like, you're the first student to like approach me in this way. Like, you should speak for my capstone class and like show them that this is the type of like student we want, like, graduating from a university. And I was like, oh, whoa. And I was like, that was a major, like, if Notebeans was my spark, I think she protected that and allowed it to like really thrive. So I had a little pitch deck. I talked about my brand as if it was like a startup, talked about the problems that I was solving and like, what made it stand out to me. And yeah, that was kind of like how I really was able to believe in my business a lot more. And the timing was interesting. So at this point as well, I was starting to like network with my Instagram with all these different creatives. COVID was such a it was a crazy time. It was a scary time, but very creatively like I don't even know, like, it was like a mold growing. Like, it was we talked about this in the very first episode with Jeremy, me, and Anthony. COVID was the most creative I have ever been. 100%. It was my way of coping with everything that was going on. 100%.
It was everything. I started streaming. I was making music. And then I started making money from making music, which is the very first time that ever happened. I was like, oh my God. And then I was streaming on Reddit to like tens of thousands of people. I didn't even know
Reddit had streaming. That's so
cool. It was during COVID. They actually
stopped
it for some reason, which is a bummer because I was actually doing really well. I was hitting the front page fairly consistently. So it was awesome, 20,000 concurrent viewers watching me play music. It felt surreal. It didn't even feel real at the time, but I was doing that. As crazy as it was being stuck inside, that was our way of adapting, right? Your mind has to do something. So
100%.
We were all just on our computers. We were all stuck at home. Making art, making music.
I'm curious, like, what's do you know your MBTI as well? Like, I'm just curious.
My Myers-Briggs?
Yeah.
I've taken the test. I feel like I'm an INFJ.
Ah, okay. I'm also an INFJ. Well, I'm like I/E, but the E is like, it really depends. Or like, for me, it's like one-on-ones.
No way.
I can be so E, but then like in a group, I'm like, I just want to go home maybe.
You know what's crazy is it's the rarest one.
Oh, really? For
Yeah,
INFJ?
it's like 3% or 1% or something.
that's
It's
crazy.
super low. It's like this rarest one because
Yeah.
I there was a point in my life where I was just like reading all about this.
Yeah, no, for
and
sure.
it's like a paradox. It's like you're outgoing, but you're also introverted and this whole thing. And you want to be seen, but you don't want to hide.
No, for sure. I feel exactly the same way. Yeah.
So the fact that we're even doing this right now is probably, it's like insane, right? Like I'm a very, I guess, introverted, kind of quiet person.
Yeah.
Yet we are surrounded by a bunch of cameras
No, for
and
sure.
microphones in our faces. So I don't know.
Broadcasting ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes I feel weird about social media too, because
For sure.
there'll be stretches where I'm like manically like posting. I just have these like waves of inspiration where I'm like, oh my god, this is an idea. I gotta film it. I will stay up until midnight editing this just to post it. And then like right now, I mean, of course I have a baby and stuff like that. And life gets in the way, but I just haven't been posting. I don't feel really motivated to, you know, make something, post it, I'd rather just film a lot of stuff or make a lot of music and then kind of just put it out later. So
yeah, no, for sure. I feel like it's ebbs and flows, you know, of like your seasons of creativity, and like, yeah, I feel the same way. I'm like, I feel like I'm quite the ambivert in me is like, if I have a fully protected day, no meetings, no meeting anyone, it's like my best day ever.
Yes.
Like, I can just stay home and create and like journal and
absolutely
do it all, you know?
I mean, I work from home full time, so I'm in this room and this is like heaven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
like I can
gosh.
just make music or I can, you know, edit.
COVID was kind of introvert heaven in a way.
Oh my God.
I feel bad to say that because I know it was also a very scary and traumatic time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But like, I did play Animal Crossing a lot, and I did like watch a lot of K-dramas and just drew all the time.
Yeah, it was the best. I mean, it wasn't the best.
I know.
I take that back. Cut that out. It was, COVID wasn't the best, but it was very good in terms of how we work.
It removed a variable that like would hold a lot of people back, right? The friction point of like, I don't have time, I have all these commitments, you know, I need to commute and all these things.
Everything
and
that you've been putting off.
sudden,
For us, COVID was amazing because we got to work on our art, work on our music. But for other people who need that interaction, that extroverts who need that energy
like
from
socially,
other people, they tanked. You know, some people got really depressed, they got really bummed out.
I have friends like this too. Yeah.
So it's crazy to think about. So, you know, COVID wasn't great for everyone, but in terms of for introverts and artists, I think we had a lot of time, nothing but time to just work on our stuff and share it. And that's all people were doing. Everyone was just on their phones. Everyone was on their computers, consuming content, playing games, watching streamers, everything like that.
The internet was our world. Yeah.
It was. Sometimes my phone shows me pictures from 2020
it's
and like
crazy.
and I just see all of us in masks and like getting tests. And
the weirdest thing too is like, I feel like when you meet people, or like when you met people online, I feel like when I met them later in person, like meeting a pen pal, like the heights didn't match. Like if they were wearing masks from 2021 to 2022, when they took it off, I was like, oh, I didn't know your face looked like that.
So COVID hit.
Yes.
And then you were a keynote speaker.
At
college.
Yes.
Your freshman year.
Yes, correct. So I did that.
Just thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, just thrown into the deep end. And then, I wanted to mention, like, I had reached out to this brand as well, because at this point I was like, okay, like, I'm going to take this kind of more seriously. I'm going to make a website. I switched from Etsy to Shopify, did all my research. And I was just trying to, like, make this business, like, start. I didn't really know what I was doing. And then I reached out to this brand called Boba Mate, and I was like, oh, I want to be their designer. Let me like do the bold thing of like cold outreach and like cold DM and stuff. And then they were like, oh, you know, we actually already have a designer, but we appreciate you for reaching out, and like we'll let you know if like, you know, in the future, whatever. And so there's this like sustainable boba bottle company. And then one day I was in my like accounting class or something, like online, and then in one of the breakout rooms, this one girl named Galena, she was like, oh my gosh, wait, are you this artist who like reached out to me about my like sustainable bottle brand? So,
she was
like,
in your class.
She was in my class. She was in my school. She was in my class. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what are the chances? I genuinely had no idea. And I'm sure like Instagram was doing its like, you know, tree of data thing.
Like proximity.
Like all these coincidences
everything.
after the fact, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it kind of makes sense. But
that's still crazy.
Yeah.
That even came together.
Exactly, yeah. So I mentioned her because she ended up becoming like my biggest mentor. I remember we got on a call and I was like, hey, I have questions about like, what do you do this for business, or how do you do this? And she was like, what's like your monthly sales? I was like, oh, like 10, like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have much to show, but she gave me like so many like resources and insights. And fast forward much later, she led me to like my first pop-up, which was Jasmine Market. And this is actually where I met like a videographer mentor, Jason, essentially. So he was the videographer for that event.
Jason, who was in episode 5.
Yes, correct.
Wow, awesome.
But I'll jump back to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so during COVID as well, personally, in my personal life, my dad actually had a stroke, and it was like a very scary thing. My brother and I were very young. My brother's 2 years older than me, but it was a very scary time, and like we were adulting for the first time and also needing to like process everything. And I think this led me to a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling, a lot of like looking within to like really understand like why everything is happening, how to like heal and cope with like all these different things. So I think that combined with a lot of like, you know, just COVID being pretty like a lot of time and space to like think, I think it gave me the introspective backbone and the language of like how I talk to myself and how I carry that through in my art. It gave me that backbone because of like that experience, I would say. So that was like a big like anchor milestone or not milestone, but an anchor point or pivotal point in COVID for me. But yeah, I would say once things started opening up in terms of like being able to go out, I started going with my boyfriend, Tim. You know Tim, of course. We went to a bunch of specialty coffee shops. So we took this Skillshare course. I was like Tim's a pretty, like, not, he's like live in the moment kind of guy, like, you know, very type B. He's an INFP. I don't know if you have a lot of INFPs in your life, but
I don't. I don't think so.
Okay. But anyways, so he's very much like go with the flow. And I was in my self-improvement, like, you know, let's take this Skillshare class on penmanship, on like investing, on like all these different things. And
he was just like, sign me up.
I was like, okay, I'll do whatever, right? And so we would just like join on Zoom. So we took this Skillshare class from Blue Bottle for a pour-over tutorial. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mind is so blown. And then the timing of it, I had like a class project where we were supposed to do like it was like macroeconomics or something, and we had to like do a research case study on like a brand. So I chose Blue Bottle. So this gave me like the time and space to like research, have that curiosity hat on, and like understand the history of specialty coffee. So when COVID opened up, like we started going to cafes. Everything was very like closed off, plastic barriered off.
6 feet apart.
Yeah, 6 feet apart. But we went out and we went all over the Bay, and I was like, you know, I really want to get more into like photography, videography. I did it a lot growing up. And like there was a moment in my childhood I remember where like me, my brother, and a close family friend, we were choosing between like we all were kind of like being gifted from like our really kind aunt, like a new gift. And so for my brother and my cousin, they got like a 3DS, or I forget, I think it was a DSi or a 3DS or something. And then I was like, I made the bold decision of like, I want a Canon PowerShot. And it was like different. It was like the first time I'm choosing like capturing and like that creative outlet instead of just like
video games.
Yeah, instead of video games, which is very fun. Like, but at the time, the brain is like, you have to choose one kind of thing. So I really dreamed about a Sony a6100, I think, because it came in white. So it was not for like specs at all. It was just like, I just want the white really one. Cool. Yeah.
I've seen some of those Sony cameras, like the ZV E1, I think, is like a full frame version of that. Looks really cool. Yeah, nice. After I did my research, I was like, okay, maybe a6400 was like the way to go. Yeah. I should have gotten a6500. I didn't know I was going to get into video, so no IBIS, sadly. So all my shaky footage. But anyway, so Tim encouraged me because I was really afraid of bringing my camera out because of theft, actually, because we went all over like SF and like all over East Bay, and I was like, heard a lot of stories.
Yeah, I was afraid. But Tim was like, you know, you bought it to use, just bring it out, right? So I started taking it out, taking photos, editing it, not even using Lightroom. I was on VSCO and everything. And then one day I was taking photos of a coffee shop called Coffee and Water Lab, and I posted it and they were like, hey, like we really like the way you see our store. Do you want to be our social media manager? And I was like, whoa, like photography can like be put to work in this way?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that.
So this all just came from a post, like Instagram post.
Yes,
They saw it and they're like, this girl is good.
You
like her work?
Yeah. And I think there was a kind of a dual crossing point here, and I feel like this is a pretty continuous throughput throughout my entire creative journey is like this push and pull for me between visual arts. Like I'm so deep into like photography, videography, but I'm also so deep into like illustration. So I like to describe it as like I see the world 3 times, like in those different ways. But I kept posting on my story on my my art account too, and I would post Coffee and Water Lab, and like one day the owner was like, "Are you like Notebeans Stationery?" I was like, how do you know, and he's like, yeah, I see you post on your story, like we're looking for someone to also design like our tote bag design. And I was like, okay, first commission too. So I really thank Coffee and Water Lab because they were like the first brand and business to like give me a chance and like saw that potential in me from a social media management and photography and videography angle, but also from the paid art commission angle as well. Yeah. So it was definitely a merging of like, oh, I didn't know you could like make money from like I was just doing it for fun. So yeah, I would say that was a major point.
So it's Coffee and Water Lab in Cupertino, right?
Yes, correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I started to also invest a lot in developing my art style. And this is a huge conversation around the art community of like, you know, how do you find your art style? Like, where do you start? Is it line work or no line work?
Yeah, I'm really
like,
curious about that because you have a very, I would say a very distinct art style. Like your color palette, I think just the brushes that you choose, and also, shout out to one of your characters right there. That is Kuma sitting on top of the speaker. I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in post.
Thank you for supporting that Kickstarter. As soon as I saw your name, I was like, I was just so happy. It means a lot.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. And then I bought one of your scarves that I was wearing over the winter.
Thank you so much. It
yeah,
means
of
a lot.
course.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just so cool seeing people make things that they really care about and immersing or creating these worlds, immersing yourself in these worlds, and this is what comes out of it. These tangible things, you know, that were just once ideas in your head,
100%,
and now they're out in the world. And to me, that's what life's about. It's just making having an idea and going with it. And I feel like that's what your life has really just been. And we were talking about earlier before we started recording, you were asking me about the throughput. Between all the last episodes or the kind of themes, I think we're trying to say, I think your theme is just taking that first step and having that courage to put yourself out there because you never know what could happen. That's literally everything that happened that you just talked about has just been a result of you taking that very first step. Yeah. Whether it was just posting about, you know, Coffee and Water Lab or going to your professor. Yeah. Just walking in and saying, hey, you know, being vulnerable and just being a true student. And
for sure.
That's something I wish I did in college. I don't think I went to a single office hours session, which why didn't I do that?
Yeah, I did kind of just like force it on my professor though. I mean, like it wasn't even an office hour. I was just like, I stayed after class and I was just like, hey, you got a minute? Like, but I do like attribute that definitely to my mom. I think like for better or worse, she's definitely like try everything, start everything.
Yeah. Is your mom very like it sounds like she's like very type A, just go-getter, very loud, extroverted?
Okay, well, not type A, definitely go-getter. She's a very like flamboyant fire character and personality. Got it. Like strong personality. Very much like treat your daughter like your best friend, and I'm like, no, like really? Love your daughter, please, like have some responsibility and like
that is so interesting. That is not what I thought your mom would be like at all. Like, I thought she'd be very cold and like very calculating.
No. It's like we're both kind of like, I feel like my mom in her 50s is like me in my 20s. Like we're in the same like stage of I don't know. She's just a fun character.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah. I want to feel like I'm 20 when I'm 50 years old. That just sounds great. It sounds like
she's the most interesting character.
That is awesome. That is so cool. But she did very well. I mean, clearly she.
I have a lot of gratitude. Right. It was one of those cheesy things of like I couldn't see it at the time, but like I see it and appreciate it a lot now.
Yeah, that is awesome.
She also had like a lot of businesses, right? And we would like help out here and there, like classic Asian family kind of thing. But then jokingly one day in the car in like high school, she was like, I'm thinking about making like a food empire. Like, what do you want to call it? And I was like, oh, like, I was just joking. I was like, how about Madelicious? You know, like, it's like, you know, my name or whatever. But I was fully joking, and she straight up like ran with it. So my mom did catering for a very long time. It was kind of like her version, like branching away from like the patriarchal housewife kind of archetype and like wanting to have her own power and like, you know, being able to make her own income. And so like she sold like food and like chili, and my background is like I'm Chinese, Indonesian, and Taiwanese. So the Indonesian side has a lot of what's called sambal. It's like a chili paste that's used in a lot of food.
Sure.
So she would sell it in like mason jars, and then it just kept selling so well during COVID. And then she got her own manufacturer, and then now she's doing like B2B with like, if you know Moto, Hawaii, and Santa Clara, their poke is like all using her chili. So it's like very, very cool to see how much it's grown. But now my jokingly name, like it looks so narcissistic. Like I'm like,
oh, so it says Madelicious.
It literally just says Madelicious, and I'm like, people are like, oh, you wanted to name it for yourself? I'm like, no, it was a joke. Like this was years ago, and like I think my mom's perspective has always been like long-term vision, like legacy building, and I think like what she could pass to
so
us.
Sweet,
and like
too. Like,
I think that's how
mom, you know?
like that's where my brother and I think got a lot of that visionary from. So Tim and I both worked in specialty coffee. I worked at Home Coffee in SF because I was also going to school in the area. It was interesting because like that was my gateway into like true human connection. I think in specialty coffee there's like a very diverse you know, kind of people who are, you know, working behind bar, and a certain level of quality and care that's like expected of you in terms of your knowledge of what you serve, how you treat customers, like how you even just make that small talk. Like, I think to me, I really enjoy like one-on-one conversations like we're talking about with like MBTI. Absolutely. Like I think that definitely carried over later in terms of how I interact with customers at my, you know, my booths, and then even with like I do live illustrations now, like that personable connection for me just like is so, it comes so naturally. I wouldn't say I'm like amazing at it, but I enjoy it a lot is what I'm trying to say. Going back to Galina, my mentor that I met accidentally in my finance or accounting class, she introduced me to a market called Jasmine Market. It was hosted by the Boba Plug, as well as, I forget, there was another org, I'm missing it on the top of my mind, but that's where I met Jason, who was doing videography for the event. I met Curtis for the first time there. Tim saw like his like streetwear and was like, whoa, this is so cool. And yeah, so that was like really pivotal. I was doing my social media management, doing my barista work, and then I got really burnt out because when summer break hit, I was driving to SF to work a barista shift for 8 hours and then driving back in rush traffic. And I was like, this kind of makes no sense. I'm like losing all the money in gas. Like, I'm not making even that much. So I pitched myself to Coffee and Water Lab as a contractor to be paid a certain amount.
You also gave a workshop at Apple Visitor Center in Cupertino around Ikigai, which is the Japanese term for... It's basically like finding your life's purpose and work purpose.
Yeah, it means like a reason to wake up, reason to be alive.
Reason for living.
So I read the book. I'm like a huge reader. Like I had a friend gift me 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
I'm actually rereading, reading through that
I feel like I need to reread it now, honestly. But I read it when I was like 18, and we didn't end up staying close friends, but I think in a way it kind of served that purpose. Like that was like my first entry point to like empathy and like, I think the opening like anecdote in the book is like it's like about him complaining about like another dad whose like daughter is crying, and then like he's like, you should watch your kid, like why don't you ask your kid to behave, and then the guy's like, oh, I'm sorry, her mom just died. Like it was one of those like big empathy moments.
You never know what people are going
just
through.
A paradigm shift, right? So I read Ikigai by Hector Gonzalez and Frances Morales, and learned about this whole concept, and I made a YouTube video about it. And then you know, I was involved with Exilo Creative Meetups. That was also very much because of my friendship with Curtis, and then him hosting that first one where we met.
That was 2022.
2022.
I think. October, November 2022.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
so
well, I can't believe we've known each other this long.
It's kind of crazy. It's really felt like just a big family reunion growing up. And like just, I don't know, going through life. I made that video and Curtis really loved it too, and he was like, hey, you should totally run a workshop. So I just made a worksheet, and then it was so much fun. And
I was there.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Of course.
yeah, so I think that was like kind of my first experience with also like kind of like realizing people like hearing how I like explain stuff. So I think that's what really I really enjoy like educational content personally.
Yeah. You have like the perfect personality for it.
Oh,
like you're very
thank you.
approachable, like you're very well spoken,
Thank
and
you.
you're very
I
like easy
appreciate
to
that.
follow.
Thank you.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
the INFJ in me. Actually, jumping back a little bit, I know you asked a little bit about like art style. I think during this time, I also started to like pay for like Patreons and like small courses here and there, and like really leaning into like a type of art that I wanted to create. And like I think to your question of like how do you like decide your art style, it's like you have to know reality to break it, right? So like you have to understand realism in terms of art, the most nuanced version of the art form before you can like simplify and cut down. So I definitely had to like reverse engineer a lot of my like art knowledge. There's like the technicality and the intuition side. I was definitely intuition forward, and I had to like reverse engineer the side that most people have like traditional art school kind of background in.
So you're basically like deconstructing
Yeah, exactly.
your style.
Like, oh, like I like using this color, but now I know why, kind of thing. Whereas most
that's so
people, they
interesting.
learn the theory first and then they apply that. So I think that was like the best decision I could have made.
Yeah.
But I like second guessed it a lot because I thought like, oh, are people gonna unfollow me if like they see my work isn't like this cute art style that it used to be. Like back in 2020, my art style was very different. It was like simplified, cute. My characters were actually a way of like being the throughput of my art journey, so that I wouldn't feel so like self-deprecating of like, oh my gosh, are people gonna like if I post something more realistic, or like do they just want to see simple?
You're kind of like there's that potential to fall in that trap of, do I just keep making the same thing so that I keep these fans, or
it's
to
like
keep this
what
audience?
you want to make versus what people want to see. And it's about like, I think the skill of building a brand and the skill of developing your art skills are very different, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I think ideally one happens in private, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, because the whole
hard,
time you were like, I've just been drawing parallels in my mind to music. Like when you talk about like what art style am I going in, I think about what genre am I trying to make.
Right. Yeah.
At the beginning of COVID, maybe like 2021, 2022. I was making more of like kind of chill wave, synthwave music. I ended up starting to DJ all around San Jose in the Bay Area.
Oh, so
it kind of naturally took me towards dance music. Just different from what I was actually making and producing.
Right.
So what I was playing out in the world in front of people was different, because I thought this is what people want to hear, right? Like this is for some reason. Now saying it out loud, it makes no sense. And now that I have just 20/20 hindsight, I just think about of thinking about what music I was playing back then. And I remember playing this music that I wasn't really attached to and didn't really move me, because I thought people wanted to hear it.
Right, yeah.
There were moments where I've just had like existential crises while performing.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I doing this? Why did I play this song? I don't even like this song.
You're like dragging your feet behind you, just like trying to make what people like.
Exactly. And I just had that very like poignant moment of like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I need to just go back to the drawing board, rethink why I'm even doing this in the first place.
Right.
Although like it was a fun experience. I'm glad I got to experience that whole scene and connect with artists that I looked up to, and then I ended up kind of talking to them on Instagram and them listening to my music. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But you just have to have that really long look in the mirror of am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for people that I don't even know, or just an audience that I'm trying to reach, but it may not be my particular audience. So 100%. I totally understand.
No, thank you for sharing that. I feel like it's I've been feeling that way a lot with like art commissions. So art commissions is just like essentially like freelance illustrator kind of work, right? I think in the last like few years, text to image generation and like,
oh my gosh.
I think it's just been crazy, because like I feel like what used to be so fulfilling for me to help people bring their creative vision to life turned into just people kind of thinking that the bell curve of that result of whatever they enter into like a language model, right? Like give me a prompt or give me an art design for this specific thing. It takes that kind of average point, right? Never comes up with new ideas, and like implicitly
remixing.
people have that bias of like, I want you to basically design exactly this, but like just help me turn it into like a file I can use essentially.
Yeah.
So the process turned from like a divergent process of like, let's start with this prompt of like make an apple like for an orchard brand or something, and like how can we show that apple, what kind of colors can we use, are there history and like research we can do about the history of apples or orchards to like inform this design. It turned from that into like a one-shot pipeline of like, client says, hey, I've made this prompt on ChatGPT, can you basically make basically this? And so
basically
I feel like
just copy that same idea.
Yeah, like in their mind, like that's the pinnacle of art. If the peak of technology, artificial intelligence can do it, then like that's what I should be going for, right? That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on in their head, and I don't blame them. It's like their way to communicate their visual needs and creative needs. But it's really sucked like the joy out of it for me. For me, that's why I've been pivoting to like live illustration.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just want to relate to that point of like, I really had to ask myself like, do I really want to do this? Like, I'm basically being told to like micro move like one part of the design to fit their like AI art prompt basically.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
That's the sad reality that we live in.
It is
right now.
Yeah.
I totally forgot what I was going to say.
No, yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
It's like right here. Right here. I guess the same thing goes with like AI music, right? There's type in a prompt, spit something out, and when you listen to it, there's just no soul. It just feels like flat. And it's getting very convincing. I know it's probably
really
going to be
is,
indistinguishable in 5 years from
for sure.
actual music, but I think the best thing that we can do as artists to protect ourselves is like you're doing. Show the process.
Yeah.
Show every single part of it.
Because they can't do that. Yeah.
Exactly. They can't. And AI will never, what's AI going to do is show like the bits and like all the little pixels and stuff. Like they're not going to compare it to someone spending hours and hours upon hours or weeks, months, years working on their craft. Like everything that we're seeing now, this took me basically a lifetime to kind of figure out
100%,
and hone in.
Yeah.
Right. And same thing with music, right? That's why people watch streams, like whether it's like artist streams or music streams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People want to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
And I think that's more interesting than just the final product.
Right.
And
100%.
yeah, so I think that's the best thing we can do as artists is to just show the process, show the weirdness, show the awkwardness, show the ugliness.
Yeah.
Just let people into your world. Be vulnerable, show who you really are.
Right.
And that's what connects people to real art. Real art is never going to be replaced by AI art because to me, the definition of art is having a human story behind it that drives it.
Like translating your worldview into something that can be heard or seen or performed, right?
Yeah.
I believe the pendulum will swing from this like, technology is the pinnacle of everything. And like, I mean, not to bring up political events, but I feel like the Epstein files has shown us that like all these tech giants that we idolize and glamorize, like it's really not all that. Like,
it's all my algorithm is on YouTube. I've just been driving down the rabbit hole. Like, oh my God, Bill Clinton, really?
I know. And so like
Hillary?
I feel like we're in the process of swinging to a renaissance of people craving that depth, and artists, pottery makers, illustrators, performers, like that will never die.
I think it's going to evolve.
I think it will evolve. Yeah. It's just, we're in the midst of it right now. So it's hard. It feels very hard.
It's hard. It's scary, but it's incredibly exciting, at least for me, because
same.
At least,
I have faith.
At least for like making music and stuff, it's not going to be enough to just like make music. I think already, you got to be on social media, you got to know how to make a video and keep people's attention and build your brand and build your identity, whether it's like your color palette or, just your visual aesthetic. It's just wearing so many different hats, right? Like you do with everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's your coffee interests leading to social media, doing social media for coffee, and then working as a barista. It's like kind of just these branching out, right? And just using what you are learning currently and then just going from there.
Yeah, 100%. Then I graduated. I traveled a lot, have very, very fortunate to be able to travel, whether it's because of visiting family and having somewhere to stay, or I had career opportunities that allowed me to travel. I was working for like a Singaporean VC called AVPN. They're like an impact network. So they move the money from like governments and rich people basically to nonprofits that can like actually make that money work. So it feels like a venture capital for like nonprofits. But I think what's a big throughput for all this as well is like I pursued all these things as like a side hustle, and like it was very much like a fun extracurricular activity. Like in hindsight now I realize how blessed I was to have those opportunities and to have actually like moved forward with all these things. But like then later in like I went from the entrepreneurship side to then entering corporate world and everything, whereas like I think a lot of people in our community like they've done the opposite, right? Where they've worked in a corporate career, they've gained all this experience, and like it's greener grass moment, of course. Like you said, you wish you took action. I wish that like I had maybe done more internships or something, right? Or like just develop those professional skills like sooner than later, instead of like figuring it out as I went, which is the entrepreneur way. But same with like this nonprofit VC. I feel like I saw this was like amidst like the election and everything too. Like as much as there's all this like corruption and all these things happening, like there's also billions of dollars being moved to like incredible purposes from government, from billionaires we deemed corrupt, we deem corrupt but are actually not. I landed my role with Nisei, which Jason, also works for.
A Japanese restaurant in San Francisco, Michelin stars.
Yes, one Michelin star, incredible like selection and menu. Would definitely recommend. Like not just because I work there, but it's really, really amazing. But they were looking for a social media manager, and Jason, being as kind as he was, like brought my name up again. And so I really have to thank like Jason a lot. And I thank Jason, I thank Alina, I thank my professor, because they like saw that potential in me and like push my work out there. My friend who's looking out for me as a VR facilitator for Stanford Health, the hospital. So they have like a creative branch that like does art therapy.
I had no idea. That sounds amazing. Oh, that's so cool.
This is Michelle, by the way. So Michelle and her husband Joey actually do a coffee pop-up called Same Team Coffee. So I want to plug that here. But
wait, Michelle works at Stanford doing the VR thing.
Yes, correct.
Okay, now it makes sense. I saw something over on Instagram with. I think you guys shot a video for her.
I think Jason and Tim also like PAs for Jason a lot.
Right. That is so cool.
Wow. But yeah, so anyways, so that happened, and then like Redbubble happened, and so like it was in the order of least to most paying and least to most commitment, to be honest with you. So like and they happened with like a few weeks between them, so I ended up trying to Tetris them in a way where it would work out, where like I would do the VR after work hours, I would do Nisei on the weekends, and I would work my 9 to 5 at Redbubble Monday to Friday. So that is currently the schedule I live. A good friend of mine, Julia, Art by Julia, incredible artist, she told me about an opportunity that she received from a program called Moment. They aim to like activate vacant spaces. They work with, city and local kind of communities to activate those spaces and bring creatives there. So she had that opportunity, and she was like, I don't want to do this alone. Do you want to do it with me? And so I was really honored, truly, truly so honored. And we were on the hunt for like our additional partners from there. So we knew we wanted to do it with around 3 to 4 people, and it took us a whole year and a half, honestly, to really like get that team together of 4 artists. For different reasons. People dropped out, personal, or just it wasn't a right fit. I struggled a lot with the narrative around like corporate rat race, and like depending on which entrepreneur you follow, you're going to hear a different kind of story about like, is it good for you? Is it not good for you? Very coincidentally, actually, one other person who was a throughput in this was when I was starting with Coffee and Water Lab. There was this one customer, and the owners of Coffee and Water Lab were like, hey, like you should talk to her. She's really good at marketing. She has her own art business. I'm sure you guys can connect too. Her name is Kirsty, a jar of pickles. And so we met as like online friends, and like we met as like them being like, hey, talk to this person to learn about social media from her, to see like anything she can offer as insight for us. I kept following her, and then I ended up booking a session with her as a business coach. So she has been my business coach for like the past like 2 years, and it's been incredible. Like her journey is so inspiring, like working in corporate marketing, starting in college as well, like a very like parallel journey that I felt like I wanted to follow. And so like, you know, like I basically have just a lot of mentors who've reached like enormous success, who've like attributed that to their corporate career because like they saw the inside of the giant, you know, and like kind of didn't reinvent the wheel in a way. And I feel like, I mean, I'm so far around like a year into like my professional corporate experience from the Singaporean company and Redbubble. And I truly believe that like those systems had like helped me learn so much in terms of making level-headed decisions, using insights to make rational decisions, like testing small experiments as a pilot before scaling it, and just like how to communicate what value you're bringing with certain offers, and building campaigns, like all the ins and outs of like for-profit marketing. That was just like, I was like, whoa, I was so excited. Like I'm personally like a geek about like digital marketing, like as a person. So I thought it was really fascinating. That's been kind of like the past year for me. And like Nisei has been amazing. Like one of my photos got featured in the Michelin Guide, which was amazing to see.
God.
Like on
I'm
their
gonna throw
Instagram.
that up right here.
It was really fun.
There.
Jason and I both worked on it. So like I think we both set the tripod up and then like we submitted it like very last minute, like 30 minutes before the deadline. It was like midnight in France or something. And then like I was like making the effects and stuff, but yeah, we can
featured
put that here.
in the Michelin Guide.
Insane.
In 2025 is that last year?
Yes, yeah, 2025.
I gotta go find it now.
Yeah,
that is so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you
on that.
But yeah, so I think learned all those skills, and then we received the storefront keys for our storefront concept on December 1st last year. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
That is so
like,
cool. So in Mountain View, downtown Mountain View.
Yes, downtown Mountain View. It's called Don't Eat Me. And the reason is because all four of us were like coincidentally Taiwanese, very coincidentally, truly. Like there was no like weird selection of like cultural background, but like we're all Taiwanese, and it's me, art by Julia, Derp Tiles, and Kare Pango, incredible artists. And like we all grew up around Taiwanese culture, which a lot of the art is very nonsensical and funny, to be honest. So we thought like, oh, there's nothing more funny than like a jarring statement like "Don't eat me," you know. So literally our LLC is like "Don't eat me" LLC. And like all of our emails for like software is like, "Thanks, don't," you know.
Don't eat me.
But anyway, so that was like the origins, and like three of us had actually worked in hospitality. So Derp Tiles, it's Crystal and Andy, Crystal's husband, like he's worked in multiple different specialty coffee shops, and he did a lot of like back of house management and work at Moonwake as well. And like and then I think Emily was a sommelier as well. So like we all had this some level of interest and passion in this hospitality world and this connection, and like curating a space for people to like feel a certain way, right? So initially our concept was like, oh, we want to make a character cafe. Like we were so excited, but then like I think starting out moment was like, okay, let's start with a retail concept and like see how it goes, and then we'll kind of like we can reestablish or revisit this conversation like a year's time from this pop-up.
So how long is this pop-up going?
It's a 1-year pop-up from December 1st last year to December 1st this year.
Still got to make it out there. We have not made it out yet.
No. When you get the chance, you're a busy guy.
We'll bring the whole family out to Mountain View. We'll check out your store.
Let me know when you go so I can actually give you a proper tour. And everything.
Absolutely. You have a store in downtown Mountain View.
Insane.
Just like, that is amazing. Just seeing you evolve and grow from SJ Made, Friends Fest, stuff like that.
Sure.
Seeing it start to get going, pick up some steam.
Feels insane every day. We had this concept. And then December 1st, we got our keys, and they were like, we want you to open before Christmas. And we're like, what? Like, we have this fully, like, cockroach, there's, like, dead spiders and, like, all this, like, dirt and everything. Like, the walls are the wrong colors of this robotics company. And, like, you know, that was previously there. And they're like, yeah, congrats and good luck. Like, you guys got to open up in, like, 17 days, right? And we're like, holy shit.
That's, like hardcore mode. Going from, like, something as cold and techy as robotics to this
100%.
Beautiful, like pure art store called Don't Eat Me.
I know, so it was a complete change. It was like a bright like probably like that. Oh, so this is a nice orange. It was like a jarring like orange. I don't think that your palette is too nice here. I don't think it'll exist. We're not contractors. We had no experience in like, you know, painting, prepping, mounting, like business permits, like all these different things. And we were really fortunate to have the support of like City of Mountain View and Moment, the program, in terms of just like what to do, like, oh, we actually had to do a building permit, and like we had to do all these different things. But most of the furnishing and everything was like out of our pockets. So it was just like a lot of it we just like didn't expect like how much this would cost.
I can't imagine like the overhead.
It was like a creeping stuff. Like we thought it was
Hidden
this,
costs.
and then it just the total cost was way higher than we thought. But anyway, so we literally we opened at 1 p.m. on opening day, December 23rd, and like I think at 12:55 we were literally still like putting stuff up, like trying to like just finish like to an actual like
down
store.
to the very last 100%, second,
yeah.
basically.
So basically, because they wanted us to open before Christmas, it was a very stakeholder kind of promise, because like, you know, we want to do what's best for the City of Mountain View's interest. We want to do what's best for Moment's interest. So like, even if it wasn't ready, like this was our called preview weekend. So it was our soft open, double soft, right? Yeah. And then our soft opening became in January, and then our grand opening was this past February 7th. So we had a lot of support from we had a lot of challenges too, definitely, of like staffing and management and payroll and all these different things that we're just like not familiar with. Yeah. And like just getting everything from our individual business, like, you know, business individuals like head into like what should staff know and how do they communicate those brand spiels and stuff. We've come to a point where we've like built a lot of systems, and like we had the help of even Faith. She's a artist from Oakland, from a brand called Calculator, and she has like immense retail experience and merchandising experience. So like she kind of completely flipped our minds upside down of like how we zone the space, how we like prevent theft, how we like have just systems in place and like zones for like wrapping the items and for cash and
like
blind
the logistics.
spots. Yeah, just all the logistics and like just how to display a store well. So like I feel like we've seen our store go from V0 to V1 to V2, and like I feel like we're in a V3 kind of stage right now too. But
as much work as that is, do you feel really fulfilled just working on this on the business, both on the business side and then on the art side as well? Because you're exercising both sides of your brain, right?
Sure.
Logical, artistic, and this is like the epitome.
For sure.
Of that.
Good question. Okay, there's like something I like to say a lot, that I feel like creative entrepreneurs have like the craft and the business side, right? And like genuinely from like if anyone's starting from zero perspective, like you have to be able to have both, right? Like you need to have the business acumen, and if you don't, start developing that. And you need to have the craft, like study the foundations, take a class, like do some practice, watch some YouTube, right? Get a book. You can't neglect like one or the other. And like I've seen so many like coffee shops, artists like try to like say, hey, my art's so amazing, I deserve to have my stuff bought, right? Which is not the case, right? And on the flip side, someone's trying to make a cash cow out of a coffee shop, and they don't care about the community, they don't care about like, you know, the craft, the quality, fair trade, like all these different things. So I do think it's like a perfect balance between, well, not perfect, but it's going to be an ebb and flow between those two, right? Like just a teeter-totter in a way. I mean, because you've seen both, right? And like,
oh my gosh, just in terms of at least what I do, you know, with making music, it's one thing to just make it, right? But you have to, it's a matter of getting it out to, I guess, the right people, or making it appeal to people, telling a story. I think that's the best way to market your music, is tell a story, whether it's about yourself, what you're going through, or you could create a fictional world, like some of my favorite bands, like Coheed and Cambria is a band that I'm a big fan of. Everything they sing about is just based in this comic book world, and they actually have, they sell comic books.
Cool.
They have like a super in-depth story. And
what a cool concept.
Yeah, it's really cool. So just building that story and being vulnerable enough to tell that story. I think that's where I feel like I've seen, you know, musicians, artists kind of just make music and then put it out there and then not understand why no one's listening to it. It's because you're not telling the story behind it, and 100%. It's kind of just, this is what it is. It's just a commodity, but it's not a story.
I mean, actually, another thing I have to thank Coffee and Water Lab for is like, they kept trying to give me opportunities. It was one of those like entrepreneurs help entrepreneurs, and like, the wife of the business, Amy, she was like, you know, you should put your art up in our store, and like, do you have like little descriptions you can put next to like the piece, right? And like, I had never done that before, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? And so I started, because of that, putting the why behind the piece, right? Like, what is the world people are entering? What is the why? And like, I think, I mean, this could be a whole nother conversation, whole nother podcast episode, but like, you know, when you're doing e-commerce first, especially during COVID, like that's the only option you have, right? Like I used to think that some of my pieces weren't worthy of being sold because it's like I'm not getting clicks, I'm not getting views, but it was really just a lack of my like digital marketing skills, right? But you know, when I started doing pop-ups, I would be like, whoa, like people are actually buying this thing, and like I see the way people's eyes are moving and they stop here, or like they go over this and then they ask this, and so I would like iterate every single time.
Interesting.
And like I wanted to highlight some connecting points of like this whole conversation of like, how do you translate your worldview into the art you see, and then let that like simmer into someone else's life, and like let them interpret that and like how it fits in their own worldview, right? I had this one piece, you can insert, I can send it to you, but it's called Traditional Ramen and Notebeans Friends piece, and like it's this very traditionally like inked kind of work that's inspired by like the tidal wave piece, and it's in a ramen bowl, and like I would ask people like from a very like UX perspective and be like, hey, like why'd you buy this piece, what drew you to this, right? And I think it was that barista side of me coming out too. I'm very chatty, I like to have that one-on-one conversation. And like they would be like, oh, you know, like funnily enough, I'm a surfer, and every time I go surfing I eat ramen. And I was like, whoa, I did not intend for that to be the reason you bought this, but I love that that's the reason. And I had someone recently message me like saying they bought my piece from, you know, SJ Made Moment in Japantown, and that like they didn't know that there was actually like a meaning behind the piece. So all my pieces have a QR code on the back you can scan that takes you to the online gallery with all those descriptions. And like the piece was called Golden Rain, and the meaning was like the phrase was like, oh, she looked up at the night sky and suddenly like everything was okay, kind of thing. Like when this rain came down in this alleyway that the girl is illustrated in. And she messaged me this long DM saying like, hey, like I've been going through divorce, and like this really gave me a lot of hope, and like just thank you for making this piece. And like I had another friend who like dropped out of college to pursue art because my work inspired them, and you know, it's just like crazy stories like that like
you never know.
Like you just don't know like what piece you make will take off, and then also like how much impact that will have for someone, and that's like the reason to keep making, right?
Absolutely. You never know. I mean, I'm looking at my record over there, the EP that I made. Thank you for buying one of those, by the way.
No, it's displayed in my room too.
Thank you. But yeah, my friend actually bought one too. And we hung out one time, it was like about a year or two ago, and he said, hey, you know, something really tragic happened in his life. One of his best friends passed away. He was around my age, like 30s, way too early, very tragically.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And he said, you know, I was just listening to your music kind of on repeat, and it helped me kind of deal with that and get through it. And I could have never imagined him even saying that, or even admitting or opening up to me about that. And that it hit me.
That's really powerful.
Hit me like a train, you know, just in the best way possible. Of like, wow, I didn't know my work could have this impact on people, and you know, it just made me really look at everything I do differently. It's 100%. Not about me making something. It's kind of like I'm just the vessel, and then
100%.
And then I put it out into the world, and then it becomes something on its own. It takes its own, you know, journey, its own path to whoever listens or whoever picks it up.
Oh, I love that perspective. It's like it becomes like people just like take small pieces of it and transform that into like what meaning it means for them. In a way.
It's beautiful. It really is. And I think about all the artists and musicians that I look up to, and how they have such a massive impact on certain parts of my life. Like I was listening to a song recently, and it brought me back to 2015, which is like the best year of my life. I met Angelina. It felt like life had just opened up for me, and things were getting better. And it was just a very
it's like a time capsule for you to
a very euphoric year, and it just felt like life was starting to come together. All because of one song. And I wrote this super long YouTube comment. I'm like, this song helped me get through so much. Oh my god.
Oh no.
It's
I mean, I know you do music, but like music is like a huge part of like my inspiration, and like there are songs, like so many of my pieces are from songs. Like I turn the song into like a piece, and like Yeah, so I'm sure it's a same impact for you, but like I just feel like I have so much respect and like admiration and like inspiration from the music world, and like so I think it's incredible what you do, and like you should continue to carry that like empowerment and that impact you have. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, just having this conversation with you and hearing everything that you're doing this is the reason I started this. We started this podcast in the first place is because we all feel like we're inspired by whoever.
Yes, 100%. I do listen to Aqua remix. I forget the name. I'm sorry.
The drum and bass remix.
Yes, the drum and bass remix. I do listen to that a lot for inspiration.
Awesome.
It's
thank
really
you.
good. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to release more music. There's so much music just sitting on there.
This is a beautiful season of your creativity.
Yeah. Thank you.
You should do it when you feel like it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Affirmation. But this feels right now. Like what we're doing right now feels right because I just want to showcase all of the amazing people that I've met in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, it was like such a serendipitous moment when we all met back in 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
And the meetups just grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, oh, this is really something big that is happening. And people are getting a lot of value out of this. And 100%. That's the whole reason why we're sitting in this room right now.
Crazy. Like,
it's
I feel like I tell so many people about it where it's just like, because most meetups you have like a business card to show, a project, a portfolio to show. You're like boxed into like the industry you've left your mark in or something. And like that's a lot of your worth in a way, the way you like, meet people and shake hands. And I feel like the golden thread between all of us was just like we are authentically ourselves. We are on the pathless path. We are trying to like live a life we love and build it together. And like I feel like even when I did my homework, I was telling you today earlier, I was like, I did my homework, I like watched all the episodes prior, I haven't had time to do it, so I did it yesterday.
That's awesome. You totally didn't have to, but thank you for
personal
giving us a view.
Personal interest too. But I feel like it's just crazy to like hear about it from like a third person POV in a way, or like hear the reactions, or like to just like hear the journey from like a TLDR perspective, because like in all honesty, it just felt like a very natural, organic meeting of beautiful strangers, just meeting at the right time, right place, and like being authentically themselves and unapologetically themselves, and like just having the time and space and vulnerability to just like create what means a lot to them. And we've seen people like go from seed of an idea to literally having full-blown businesses, and like it's not meant to be an incubator, like it's not meant to be this like business savvy like
sit down, talk about the numbers and
like
all this
angel investors,
P&L.
No, it's like it's definitely just like you deserve to be heard, you deserve to have your work be seen. And like I think just being surrounded by people who believe that and believe in you, like oh my gosh, that's much impact.
That's what this is. That's exactly what this room is right now. And just immersing myself in this world, like I've been fortunate and lucky enough to do creative work for a living. That's what I do for my day job for the past 10 years. And it all started, I started out freelancing as well. And unfortunately it led me to the point where I can just do this all the time and build a life around it, right? And you've taken that and just ran circles around around me for sure.
No, not at all.
No, you're doing amazing, Madeline.
Thank you so much.
You're super early in your career, but you've already accomplished so much. And I can't wait to see what else you do in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years.
Being on the shoulders of the giants that came before me, man.
You're very ambitious, but you're also very grounded, which I feel like is a very rare combination. I know you're going on a trip. I just want to give you a parting gift for your travels.
Oh my gosh, I didn't expect this.
Yeah, I just got you some beans from
my goodness.
Voyager. Picked this up yesterday.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Shout out to Voyager. Yeah. Got some Ethiopian beans.
So
hopefully,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I just made my first cup this morning. Made an Americano. Delicious.
Amazing.
It's really good.
Is that your go-to beverage? Coffee beverage?
Just an Americano.
Okay. Yeah.
I tried to do I'm just terrible at latte art. I think that's my excuse for not making a latte.
I mean, a good Americano is solid. Yeah,
that's my go-to.
Yeah.
Nice. Or just chug an espresso.
This means a lot. I really didn't expect it. Oh my god, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just gotta go back to your coffee, roots.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy it. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
Madeline Liu, artist, entrepreneur, coffee connoisseur, amazing person. All right. Thank you
so much.
Take care. Bye.
Oh, I don't know what to say goodbye to.
Bye. All right. Cool.
That's a wrap.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh.